If you would, while you're standing, help me as we introduce and induct our Rotary President for 2017-2018, Mr. Mike Homan. Well, Mike, as you well know, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to your year. I know it's going to be fantastic, and I personally can't wait. So
you can.
Well, I mean that from excitement.
Yeah.
But it's my privilege also to give you your president's pen. Wear it proudly and loudly and everywhere you go, because you never know what stories you will encounter.
There you go.
Congratulations, and looking forward to our Rotary year, making a difference.
Thanks, John. Selfie, man. That's pretty cool. That's the first standing ovation I've ever had. Man, I like that. I like that. We could start every meeting that way. So, John, thank you. You know, you had a heck of a year. I mean, it was a great year. You had a lot on your plate. You modeled for us what it is to be a servant leader, and we appreciate that. It was a great year. You've moved the club forward. And on a personal note, I appreciate all the effort that you've put into trying to get me ready for this year. And above all, I feel like we're really good friends now, and I appreciate your friendship. So thank you. Okay, well, while we're standing, why don't we go ahead and visit with someone nearby that maybe you haven't seen yet. Okay, if I can have your attention, please. So if you want to go ahead and have a seat, we're doing things a little out of order today, but if you go ahead and have a seat, please. So today is a special day, not only because we begin a new Rotary year, and I got a standing ovation, but you know, this is the time of year we celebrate our independence, and that independence that we all hold so near and dear to our heart. And so today we have a special musical rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, and that will be followed by the Pledge and Invocation by Corey Nickerson. Enjoy.
Amazing fact you may not know, red, white, and blue trumpets are made out of plastic. Incredible, really? Did you not know that? I didn't either. Those are great. Would you bow in prayer with me? Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the freedom that we have to celebrate in this country. Lord, there are so many places in the world that peace is so far away. We ask that you would guide and direct the leaders of this world, the leaders of this country, the leaders of our community, so that everything that we do is aimed toward peace and freedom. We thank you for Rotary. We thank you, Lord, that we stretch our hands around the world, we roll up our sleeves, and we go to work on behalf of people. Thank you for your love. Thank you for this life. Thank you for freedom. And in your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Corey. And thank you, Go Forth Brass Plastic Quartet. And I'd like to introduce the quartet here. We have Matthew Simpson, Bryson Tuttle, Steve Adamson, and Stephen Goforth. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your talents with us today. And thank you for agreeing to do a second number. After this number, Luann Buehlinger will introduce our guests.
I suppose each of us has an artifact or some personal item or two or three that you experienced or someone in your family had that was involved in our freedom. Well, here's the story. So I am at my granddad's home, as I did for probably 20 summers in West Virginia. I hauled coal to pay for my college in Bluefield, near Coalwood. If you've ever watched October Sky, that is where I grew up. And in the smokehouse, which you probably have no idea what a smokehouse is, you could read it in a book, but to walk in one, it was built with cedar lumber, pure American cedar. I'm wrong. Chestnut, American chestnut. Boy, I've moved out west, haven't I? So the American chestnut slabs on that smokehouse, and in it was this 105 millimeter howitzer shell. Here's the history. So my Uncle Renard, to whom I dedicated that arrangement of the national anthem, served in Korea. I have his mittens from those blistering cold times. If you go to the monument in Washington, D.C., you will notice men trudging. I believe 18. I believe they're about 10 to 12 feet tall, bronze statues of men. How many? There are a bunch of, and they are frozen, and they're trudging. He paid the price. Do you know how many tens of thousands of these howitzer shells were exploded in Korea alone? He brought it back as a memory. Well, I'm going to have Bob play this for us. We're going to play one of the greatest pieces of music written to commemorate our country. It is entitled appropriately, America. My country, 'tis of thee is the words you probably know. But to play this instrument differently than it was intended to be played is quite appropriate for our memory of many, many who have served to give us a chance to sit down and gather at a banquet at lunchtime with our friends. And so Bob Sade is going to play this. It goes something like this.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Now's the time when we introduce our guests. So if you hear your name, please stand up for a few moments so we can get a good look at you. First, we'll introduce our visitors, and then we'll introduce visiting Rotarians. And please hold your applause until the end. First up, Kathy Gurrell has brought Tom Lucock. Tom is retired from Michigan State University. Tiffany Egdorf has brought Lee Egdorf with Cherokee Nation Entertainment. Welcome. And for our visiting Rotarians from Southside, we have David Cobb, an old Rotary Club of Tulsa member. And from Broken Arrow, we have Deborah Wimpy. Hi, Deborah. Deborah's a guest of Danny Stockstill. Thank you so much for coming, and come back anytime.
So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm eating a bologna sandwich up here. And that is courtesy of Rochelle, who I do not see right now. I'm sure she's somewhere. Anyway, at every board meeting, she sends us a list of things we can get for lunch, and I always tell her, I just really would like a bologna sandwich. Voila. And I love it. I love it. So yeah, so welcome visitors. Check us out, and hopefully you'll let us check you into our club. We're always looking for dynamic, community-minded individuals that share our mantra of service above self. So welcome. Now, please join me in recognizing this week's Rotary sponsors. T.C. Blair and Rhonda Renz with Spirit Bank, Mike Fine with Fine Airport Parking, Elaine Dishman with Regent Bank, and Trudy Sweeten with BLK Center. Thank you, sponsors. In addition to our sponsors, please join me in thanking all of our volunteers whose committed service makes our meetings run smoothly week after week. Thank you, volunteers. So a couple announcements. There are cards on your table to sign up. Next week is we're having the CEO, Sally Smith, from Buffalo Wild Wings speak to us, and we're going to serve Buffalo Wild Wings for lunch. So we need to know how many wings to order. For those of you who do not like wings, we'll also have the salad bar open, as I understand. But please sign up. And also, I encourage everyone to bring a prospective member. We've had a very generous Rotarian buy $800 worth of Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. And if you bring a prospective member next week, we're going to put your name into a drawing for a gift card. We have one committee meeting today. Communications is meeting in room 233. So at this time, I'd like to recognize this year's board and committee chairs. Normally, Karen Keith would be doing this, but Karen is in France with Michelle Place. Karen's our board chair for next year. And as you recall, her and Michelle are over in France visiting the Drillers ride, and I have not seen any video online yet of them riding it, but I've heard that they did ride it, so we'll be interested to hear that story. So your board and committee chairs this year, I am really excited about them. It's an amazing group. They're packed full of energy. When I talked to them and asked them to serve, I told them I wanted people with ideas and people who would not be afraid to share those ideas. And the board has already gone above and beyond. We've already met 3 times since January. And I'm here to tell you, they're not shy about sharing their ideas. And they've got some great ideas. And collectively, it's going to be a great year with this board. So I'm really excited about them. Committee chairs also, we have several committees that have already been meeting this year, some for several months now, and so they're full of energy too. So the way I want to do this is, first I'm going to introduce the board, and I guess let's have the board members that are here come stand up front here. And if you'll hold your applause till the end, I'd appreciate that. So first of all, President-elect, gentleman who just got a new promotion, Hannibal Johnson. Secretary-Treasurer, Matthew Bristow. Sergeant-at-Arms, Charles Sechrist. Director-at-Large with 1 year remaining, Brian Bovard. Director-at-Large with 2 years remaining, Dana Burks. Our new Director-at-Large, Tim Nall. Long-Range Planning Liaison, John O'Connor. Past President, John Raines. Club Service Director, Katie Johnson. Community Service Director, Michelle Place, who's not here, she's with Karen. International Service Director, Catherine DeCamp. Past Sergeant-at-Arms. Hi, Catherine. Membership Director, David Wagner. Vocational Service Director, Jan Lobb. And Youth Service Director, Rhonda Renz. Please join me in showing your appreciation to your 2017-2018 board. Okay, thanks, board. You're awesome. Oh, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Brian, did you see I got a standing ovation today? Yeah, it's nice. So, a club like this, who is A, large, and B, very active, has several committees. We have 40-plus committees. So I think what we'll do here, instead of bringing everyone up, because that'd probably be like half the room, as the committee chairs, as I call your name, if you'll please stand, stay standing until I've introduced everyone, and then we'll show our appreciation at the end. Budget chair is Jerry Barrientos. Our communications coordinator is Monica Martin. Social media chair is Mandy Winton. Yes, we have a social media chair now. Invocations, Kathy Gorell. Long-range planning, again, liaison, John O'Connor. Programs, Tim Caldwell and Josh Herlin. Singing and pledge, Terry Carell. Sponsorships, Paul Baumann. Technology, Tony Oliva. And under community service, we have Above and Beyond Awards, Roberta Preston and Tiffany Egdorf. Club Foundation Development is Luann Buehlinger. Club Foundation Grants, Stephen Roberts. The 25th Annual Henry P. Iba Citizen Athlete Awards Chair is Tricia Kirkstra. Rotary Plaza Maintenance, Joe Roberts. Salvation Army Bell Ringers, Jerry Stringer. Under International, we have International Projects, David Peterson and Ben Wyndham. Rotary Youth Exchange Scholarship, Jerry Stamper and Alicia Herrera. Rotary Foundation Development, Russell Gibbs. Rotary Foundation Global and District Grants, Lynette Potter. Classifications, Dave Moore. Diversity and Inclusion, Phil Armstrong. Recruiting Chair is Becky Fields, and then Becky has several subcommittees under her. Young Professionals, Amethyst Cavallero. Recruiting Yearlings, John DeBars. Recruiting Past Members, Phil Viles. Recruiting Minorities, Jesse Guardiola. Recruiting Community Leaders, pulling double duty, Monica Martin. Small Business, Lynette Potter. And then Membership Retention is Bill Miller. Mentoring is Kip Lycum. New Member Orientation, John DeBars. Visitors, Brandy Bynum. Rotaract Liaison will be Jake Dollarhide. Under Vocational Service, we have Fireside, Linda Bradshaw again. Rotary Cares, John Della Vedova and Terry Heritage. Social and Service Events, Alicia Herrera and David Downing. They're going to be a fun group. Vocational Projects, David Momper. Under Youth Service, we have Camp Enterprise, Brandy Bynum and Dana Burks. Crescendo, Phil Armstrong. Interact, Brian Bovard. Mike Chittum, Partners in Education, is John Hare. Shop with the Cop is Chris McCune. And the four-way speech test is Mandy Winton and Jerry Barrientos. So thank you, chairs. Appreciate you stepping up in these leadership roles. We're running ahead of schedule. Nice. Okay. So now I get to introduce our Rotarian of the day, Sergeant of Arms, Charles Seacrest. I'm a little nervous about this, but because every time I tell someone Charles is my Sergeant at Arms, I get that giggle like I just got. No, it's going to be fun. So Charles is Executive Director of Key Personnel. He and his wife, Danielle, have 3 sons, Hunter, Tanner, and Parker. They truly have a house divided in that the oldest son went to OU, and the youngest son is headed to OSU. The middle son is a Marine, and he antagonizes the other 2. So Charles joined our club June of 2013. And this past year, he served as Vocational Service Director, and he chaired the Shop with a Cop. This year, we're going to get to know Charles more closely as our Sergeant at Arms. And I have it on good source that Charles wrote the script for this year's roast of President John, which does make me a little bit nervous. So, hold on to your hats and maybe cover your ears, Charles Seacrest.
Well, well, well. I don't know if they ever thought this might happen. Rotarian of the Day. President Mike Homan, it is my honor to introduce the 2017 and 18 president of the Tulsa Rotary Club. President Mike came to the Rotary Club in 1991. He has served on the board as Community Service Director, Club Service Director, and Board Chair. He's chaired various committees, including membership, Camp Enterprise, Rotary Club of Tulsa Community Grants, and IBA Awards. Our president, Mike, is only the vice president and senior principal for his Terracon Consultants. Maybe we can change that. Okay. He manages the Tulsa branch at Terracon. Mike's wife, Ginger, Mike's wife is Ginger, and they have been married for 34 years. They have 3 children, Ryan, Megan, Nathan, and daughter-in-law, Casey. Mike will introduce his family shortly. Mike enjoys running well before the sun comes up and has been a part of the same running group for 30 years. Before the sun comes up, do you guys even know or see each other? I mean, that's really confusing about it. I just see Mike going, yes, I'm out here. Okay, fair enough. Married for 34 years, running group 30 years, Rotarian 26 years. President Mike, you are a consistency machine. Very good. Now, this is a true story. Mike likes to hike and loves the Rocky Mountains, and he encountered an actual bear once. And in this situation, he, somewhat panicked, and the only thing he could think about doing is yelling, and in his vanity yell, he yelled, "I'm an engineer." The bear fell asleep, and he was okay. It's going to be a good year. Last February, when President Mike turned to my bedroom lights on and woke me up at 3 a.m. asking me to be a sergeant at arms, I immediately saw the passion and conviction of a Rotarian president. I saw the sincerity of a man who had a vision and the fortitude to bring that vision to life. I looked at him squarely in his eyes, and I told him I had one question I had to ask. How did you get in here? I then told him I would be a Sarge as long as he would totally accept that I knew what I was doing, even when I clearly don't. And with a handshake and a firm turn off the lights, it's 3 a.m. in the morning, he was gone. So to start off the presidency with respect, loyalty, and love, I offer to President Mike and our club, I offer this remake of a television classic theme song. Tommy Wolf, baby, I'm going to go a cappella on this, okay? So you can relax this time. I appreciate that. Rotary, exciting and new. President Mike, he's expecting you. 4-way test, life's sweetest reward. Let it float. It will flow back to you. The Rotary, making a brand new run. Tulsa Rotary, something for everyone. Set a course for adventure. Hey, did you try that salad bar? And serving won't hurt anymore. President Mike, smile and say that's for sure. It's Rotary. Welcome aboard, it's Rotary. Ladies and gentlemen, President Mike Homan.
Oh, shoot! Hey!
Wow, you guys are going to spoil me. Charles, you're awesome, dude. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year. You know, we've had what? Oh, what? Yeah, okay. I accept that. I accept that. You know, Charles and I have had many after that 3 a.m. wake-up call, we've had many breakfasts together. And there was one day we were at the Savoy, and we were carrying on like 2 teenage kids, and I looked up, and we'd been there for like 2 hours, and we were just rolling. So it's going to be a fun year. Thank you. Thank you for stepping up. Okay, so before I get started on my slightly under 2-hour speech, but we'll see if we can keep it. I wanted to, last week, past President John, God, it's going to take a while to get used to, introduced his village. He said, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, which I found interesting because I'd always heard that it takes a village to raise an idiot, but anyway. So I want to introduce my village today. And my village is a little bit larger than John's, and I think you'll probably find out why this year. But first and foremost is Ginger, my lovely wife, who I love dearly. And we have been married for 34 years. We dated for 6 years before that, so we started young. And Ginger, those of you that know Ginger know that she is the strength in this marriage. She lifts me up, she supports me, she makes me a better me. Thank you. I love you. Charles said, don't be choking up there now. And so Ginger and I have been blessed with 3 kids, as Charles said. Our oldest son, Ryan, and his wife, Casey. Our daughter, Megan, lives in North Dakota right now, which, if you know Megan, is like a really odd place for her to live because she loves the mountains. And then our youngest son, Nathan, who is home from college this summer. So we get 3 months of Nathan, which we always enjoy. And then I want to introduce Tom and Ruthie Reinhardt. Tom is past president of this club and a special lifetime member. And Tom is the gentleman who sponsored me into this club in 1991. And you'll hear a little bit more about that story in just a couple minutes here. So Tom, thank you very much. Tom came all the way down from Kansas City. Actually, he's been on a trip, came from Colorado to be here with us today. So that's very special. Thank you. And then a couple of my co-workers here. First of all, Ashley Norris. Ashley, stand up, come on. Ashley is like the most awesome office administrator you'll ever know. If it weren't for Ashley, when asked to do this, I would have had to say no, because she takes care of things back at the office. And we've worked together for several years, not a whole bunch of years, but wouldn't be able to do this without her, so thank you, Ashley. And then David Cobb, you met David. David's our client development manager, and he is actually going to be president of the Southside Club in 2020, 2021. So congratulations, David. And then Charles mentioned our running group. My best friend, Jim Rusher, is here. Jim's in the running group, and Jim and I have been running together. Has it been 30 years, roughly? 5-6 days a week for 25, 30 years. So this guy knows me very well, and he he is a great, great friend. He's always there. We've traveled through life seasons together, raised our children together, and we've done a pretty good job, I think. We've got some good kids, so thanks for coming, Jim. I appreciate that. And then the two people that have the most work cut out for them, Rochelle and Tommy Lynn. Yeah, surprise. They've already been very supportive, and I think as most of you know, we would not be the club that we are without Rochelle and Tommy Lynn. And I think they're just now, over this past week, starting to get a little taste for what they've gotten themselves into here. But so prayers and well wishes to them, please. So that's my immediate village. There's suburbs out there too that I need to support me, but I didn't bring them along. So what is Rotary to you when Rotary is at its best? Think about that. 30 years ago, Ginger and I moved to Tulsa. We had 2 children, a lot less gray hair for me, and we were eager to engage in the community. You know, we wanted to get involved, grow friendships, and hopefully play a part in making our town a better place to live. We wanted to give back. We wanted to make Tulsa a home. My boss at the time lived in Dallas, and he gave me 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, stop ironing your own shirts. Number 2, join the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Lucky for me, Yale Cleaners, shout out, was right around the corner, so that problem was easily solved. But I didn't know anything about Rotary. I'd never heard about Rotary. So he suggested I ask my pastor for the name of a Rotarian. So I did. A few days later, John Cotton called me, and he invited me to his Rotary Club. So I asked if he was a member of the Rotary Club of Tulsa, you know, the downtown club, because my boss had told me that's the club I needed to join because that's where all the cool people were, where I make all the connections. Well, John was not, but he said that he had a good friend who was, and that he'd have him give me a call. How nice of John to do that. You know, he could have blown me off, but he didn't, because that's the Rotary way. So next thing I know, I'm getting a call from Tom Reinhardt. He invited me to lunch, because we didn't know each other, and then he invited me to a Rotary meeting. After that first Rotary meeting, he took me to my first committee meeting. Tom was already modeling what it meant to be a Rotarian before I was one. What Tom modeled for me was that if you're going to be a serious Rotarian, you get engaged. You invest yourself in your club's efforts. So when it came time to sign up for committees, Tom made sure I signed up and stayed engaged. And he stayed involved in my Rotary experience through all these years. Now, Tom has mentored several lucky Rotarians because Tom is a great Rotarian. And if you haven't met him, I really encourage you to meet him after the meeting. And Tom, thank you for the gift of Rotary. So I've been fortunate to have several Rotarians take an interest in me, you know, share their Rotary story with me and serve as mentors. 2 examples are Jimmy Sade and L.C. Clark, both past presidents. They took an interest in me and used to invite me to lunch at the Celebrity Club several times back when I was a younger version of me. And they shared with me what Rotary was doing to make a difference. I don't know why. They did the same with several others, but it meant the world to me. Jimmy and L.C. had hearts for Rotary. Now, the Rotary Club of Tulsa is where you come to feel the pulse of this city. It is true. You know, to know what's going on. In addition, our club has a very rich history of making a difference in our community and around the world. There are many who came before us, and many amongst us today, who built this club into the well-respected servant leader club that we are. We must always appreciate and never forget the effort that went into building this club over the past 100+ years. So in honor of our rich history, I ask all past presidents to stand and accept our appreciation for your leadership of this club. So as we've done so over and over in the past, we must continue to adapt to remain a club that makes a difference. We all know this. The question is, where do we adapt? Where do we focus our efforts to get the results that will make us stronger, more vibrant, and more relevant? Over the past several years, our club, like most Rotary clubs in North America and other developing nations, or developed nations, has realized a net loss of members. Between 2003 and 2013, Rotary membership in the U.S. declined by 15%. Our club's membership has declined by similar percentages. Now, studies of service clubs are finding that recruitment of new members is not the issue. Retention is what's driving the net loss of members. By one study, Rotary averages 44,000 new members a year, but loses 51,000. Now, last year, seeing this, past President Jeff Hassel took the lead developing a strategic plan for our club to identify areas where we need to adapt in order to continue as a club that makes a difference. For our club to live up to its legacy of community service, Jeff knew that we must regain our history of growth and the energy that accompanied that growth. He knew that if we didn't reverse the current trend of losing members, we would become less and less relevant in a community and a world that needs more and more people with servant hearts. So Jeff convened a representative group of members to study, discuss, and put into action what Rotarians and non-Rotarians told us about our club through interviews. Some of the feedback was flattering and nice to hear, some not so much. All of the feedback, when considered objectively, gives us a roadmap to a very strong future. If we will truly listen and act on what we heard, our club's new strategic plan offers us an opportunity to become better and stronger. Make us a better us. Now, there are copies of the strategic plan on your table. I would like to thank the several people who came together last fall to study this plan and discuss which tactics we should be addressing this Rotary year. So the tactics highlighted in gray on that plan are those we will focus on this year. So please take your copy of the strategic plan, read it, hold on to it, read it again, question it, and use it to initiate conversations with each other. It's a very strong document, not meant to be put on a shelf to collect dust, but meant to be alive and to challenge us to be a better us. All that we do this year, my promise to you is all that we do this year will be done through the lens of that strategic plan. And I promise you this will not be the last time you're going to see that strategic plan. So what did we learn? Well, while being a well-respected service organization, Rotary has an identity crisis. Fully 80% of the public either never heard of Rotary or know us by name only. Also, for the first time in history, we have 5 different generations in the workforce. The very large and significant baby boomer generation now has fewer people in the workforce than the millennials. These 2 generations have some built-in conflicts on how they approach life, work, and service. Because part of our future growth includes a younger, more gender and ethnic diverse membership, we face some inherent challenges when our current membership does not reflect the diversity that we strive to develop. Now, we know that people today join Rotary for essentially the same reasons that they have for over 100 years. We're all in search of connections and friends. We want to gain some level of personal development. We want to develop business connections. And of course, we all want a chance to make a difference in our community. However, people's reasons for staying involved are changing. Today's emerging generations are eager to join in, connect, and make an impact now. They don't want to join and wait. They want to roll up their sleeves and get to work. They want to jump in and make a difference immediately. As a young Rotaract president from Berlin at the Rotary International Conference told us, contrary to popular belief, young professionals have time for Rotary, they just don't always have time for weekly meetings. And we would do well to recall that Paul Harris was a young 36 years old when he rolled up his shirt sleeves and planted the seed that became Rotary. If we do not engage our new members right after they join, they will move on and find another place to serve. However, if we do engage them, they will develop their own Rotary stories, as each of us have done, and then they will invite their friends to join. In this way, we will become more vibrant, a club making a difference, a club that will be more relevant in our community, in our world. So our focus this Rotary year is simple: share, engage, grow. So let's talk about share. Historically, we've told our Rotary story through our actions, our deeds. However, this is a different time. We must get better at telling our story. When people point to your Rotary pin and ask, "What is that?" we need to be prepared to share our story. Our communications committee has been hard at work for several months now and has just finalized a formal communications plan for our club. As part of that plan, we will hire a PR firm to help us do a better job at telling our story individually and collectively. And we also need to spend more time in the community so that non-Rotarians can better know us. You know, we're a likable bunch. When people meet us, they really like us. So we're going to have several hands-on service opportunities this year through partnerships with recipients of our community grants. Now this year we are going to limit the number of grants to 4, 2 this fall, 2 next spring. So our recipients will receive larger investments given in an intentional manner to assure that our gift is relevant to the organization's mission and to our mission. In return, the recipients will be required to put us to work, provide us opportunities to serve. Being out in our community and seeing the needs and being a part of the solution is the best way to serve and to share our story. So that takes us to engage. We will make a concerted effort this year to better engage our membership. Tim Caldwell and his program committee have been working hard since the first of the year to bring first-in-class programs to us. Next week, we're going to hear from Sally Smith, as I said earlier, CEO of Buffalo Wild Wings. And she's going to talk to me about one of my favorite foods and hopefully enlighten us as to where they find those buffaloes with wings. In addition to gauging through community service, Alicia Herrera and the social committee are already at it to provide us ample opportunities to get together and share our stories. And our past presidents have agreed to take the lead in our development of a mentor program. We will facilitate connections between new Rotarians and our past presidents, just like Jimmy and Elsie did with me. Our goal is for everyone to have some fun at every meeting. We want you and your guests to be glad you took time out of your day in the middle of the week to be here. You know, leave with a smile on your face. Maybe your batteries are recharged. So we are committed to fun and uplifting meetings. As you can see, Charles Seacrest is a fun-loving guy, and he has some great ideas for bringing some fun into our meetings this year. So I'm convinced that if we share and we engage, growth will take care of itself. But our growth must be intentional. We must develop a more diverse membership. Why? To better equip us to serve our community. The more diverse we are, the better we will understand the needs of our community. As Rotary International President Ian Risley reminds us, the more diverse a club's membership, the stronger a club will be. And this starts at the board level. The diverse makeup of our board and committee chairs this year is very intentional. Your leadership team will lead the effort to include more female, more young professionals, and a more ethnically diverse membership. Now, past presidents, Jeff and John, and those who preceded them have built a strong foundation to help us be a better us. This is our year to grow. Not for growth's sake, but because with more members, we'll be better equipped and better able to connect with, collaborate with, and serve our community. So, what is Rotary to me when Rotary is at its best? It's the stories that I hear from each one of you about your life's adventures and the role that Rotary has played in those adventures. It's hearing about the impact that working with a child at Celia Clinton had on you. It's hearing that you go back to Nicaragua year after year because in doing so, you can assure that orphan children have clean water and food on the table. It's hearing how you introduced your best friend to Rotary and how it made a huge difference in their life. It's the stories and the passion with which those stories are told. I so wish that every one of you would have the opportunity to be president of this club because this last 18 months has just been amazing. So in closing, I want to thank each and every one of you who have shared your Rotary story with me over the past 26 years, and particularly these past 18 months. Again, the journey preparing for this year has been amazing. Before I began this journey preparing for this new role, I really felt like I knew the heart of this club. Now, 18 months later, I feel like I am much closer to knowing the soul of this club. We are a group of servant leaders, and I am proud to serve with each and every one of you. Thank you. Y'all are so gracious. So gracious. I appreciate that. And I know you're getting a lot of Mike today, but I promise this is it. So again, as our tradition is, we have a book recognizing today's program to present to our partner in education school. Yes, I'm a Minions fan. I know the Minion gifts, whatever. And so thank you, Rochelle, for picking that out. It's very appropriate. Okay, upcoming programs. Again, Sally Smith on the 12th. Sign up. Hopefully you're going to be here. Bring a guest. Let's pack the place and bring a prospective guest and win a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. And then on the 19th, Philip Montgomery, the TU football coach, will be our guest speaker. So wear your TU blue. Ryan, I need to get some TU stuff, you know. So mark your calendars and bring guests. We're going to get out early today. Awesome. Okay, so thank you for attending today's meeting. Now I encourage you to go out.
Mike, I think they want to show a video.
Oh, I forgot about the video. Oh, darn. I almost forgot about that. Ah, darn. Okay, so this goes back to the Buffalo Wild Wings. Gee, how did I forget that? So we thought it might be fun to have a little wild wing eating contest and do a little promo video for the upcoming program. And so this is the video. Is that good? Yeah.
We're at Buffalo Wild Wings where President Mike Homan is getting ready to go a little crazy on this place. Tell a little bit more, Mike, why they should be at Rotary.
Well, we want you there on July 12th because Sally Smith, CEO of Buffalo Wild Wings, is going to be our speaker. She's going to talk to us about my favorite food group, Buffalo Wild Wings. My second best food group is ice cream.
Ice cream will come shortly after you pass out.
Yes.
It'll be great.
Hopefully. No, I'm not passing out. I'm winning.
No, I think he's going to pass out.
No.
July 12th, be at Rotary. It's going to be crazy with a K.
With a K.
With a K.
Yes. So what concerns me is I know there was more video taken that evening, and I'm Assuming it's going to pop up somewhere. Okay. Now, did I remember everything? Okay. Okay. So, I encourage you to go out and tell your Rotary story. And as past President Tom Reinhardt was fond of saying, don't forget to bring a friend to Rotary next week. Thank you. We are adjourned.